And welcome to Wild Bill's Media and the Arts podcast. Today's episode is going to be called Purgatory. Today I want to talk to you about a project and a band that most people probably don't know anything about. Only those people who are Iced Earth fans pretty much know who this band is and what this band is about. Pretty much back in the early 80s, mid to late 80s, John Schaefer of Iced Earth created a band called Purgatory, along with Gene Adams and Bill Owen and a few other guys. And they pretty much played the Tampa, Florida metal scene for a lot of years till they changed their name to Iced Earth and got signed. Well, they had written a bunch of songs, I guess, back in the day, and I guess a lot of them never really seen the light of day. Well, back in 2018. Iced Earth, or John Schaefer, found an interview by a podcast called Podcast and Stone, and they were doing an interview with Gene Adams, and basically John reunited after Gene because Gene was originally was the original lead singer of Iced Earth. And then he got fired, and then, so it has been 30 years since, I guess John and Gene talked, and they got back together, and they got their friendship back. And anyway, so when they met up in Tampa, Florida, they had talked about doing some old songs that they recorded back in the day under their name Purgatory. So they decided to do five songs, and these songs were recorded in a 9-day period or whatever during I think it's the winter part of the Iced Earth North American tour at the time. And anyway, so basically, they got together to do this project, and the actual name of the band is called John Schaefer's Purgatory, but the actual album just says Purgatory or whatever. But back in those early days of Purgatory, they did a lot of horror stuff. Mainly their main stuff was kind of like horror. They had wrote songs for like Jack the Ripper, Dracula, Nightmare on Elm Street, or Freddy Krueger, like Jason, Friday the 13th, and a lot of other stuff. And so anyway, they took and picked, I guess, like 5 of the strongest songs or whatever it was to put on this project. The funny thing about this was early 2000s, I think it was 2001, Iced Earth released an album called Horror Show, where they did all horror songs from the classic horror movies except for one song, was a song called Ghost of Freedom, and it was actually about a ghost of a military guy who died and came back to protect his sons and other sons in future conflicts. But anyway, the name of the song fits in the album track, but the actual song doesn't. Well, I mean, I guess it does. It's still about a ghost, but it's just not a horror thing, I guess. But anyway, so when they got back together, Gene talked about he had to go through some things to get his voice back in the singing shape. I think he says falsettos. Had to work on to get them back to do this album. And anyway, take a look at this. That is a picture of one of the old Purgatory posters back in the day. But so for those of you who do not know, Gene Adams was the lead singer on the very first I Surf record. And he's also one of the singers and band members in the band Jacob's Well. And so not too many people have heard this album. But to go through to tell you the songs on this album is In Your Dreams, which is based on Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. Dracula, which is based on Dracula. I don't think no particular Dracula. In Jason's Mind is based on Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. Jack is about Jack the Ripper. And Burning Oasis, I'm not really sure exactly what that is, but those are the 5 songs that are on this album. And I have to say something. And the way, a lot of people have gave Gene a lot of grief over the years about his singing style on the first record. And a lot of people thought that, he catches a lot of hate for it. But his singing style was kind of different. But I think it was right for the time and right for that record. I gotta say something. This album kicks major ass. Just the way Gene delivers the vocals on this album, it just, he makes you believe the things that you're singing in this album. And it is just so killer. You kind of take a different look at Dracula, a different look at Freddy, a different look at Jason and Jack the Ripper, just by the way he sings the vocals and to the lyrics of these songs. And if you noticed here in the cover on the album, you have Jason right here, Dracula. You have right here is Jack the Ripper. And up here in this window is Freddy Krueger. I'm not really sure what's in that window there. But actually there was an Easter egg in this album cover. And right here in this window shows the cover of their very first demo called Enter the Realm, the re-artwork of it they had drawn for the Enter the Realm album. And I might actually talk about that album later on down the line in another episode. But they redone those songs. I think they said they redid some of the lyrics, some of the music parts, everything. They updated some of the songs that were how they originally sounded from back in the day. Let's see. So, In Your Dreams, the music was written by Schaefer. The lyrics were written by Gene Adams. Dracula, music, Schaefer, Adams, Owens, Abel. And the lyrics is Gene Adams. And In Jason's Mind, Gene wrote the lyrics for that. Jack was John Schaefer, and Burning Oasis was John Schaefer. Now, the lineup for this album is John Schaefer, rhythm and lead guitars and vocals. Gene Adams, lead vocals. Bill Owens, lead guitar. Jim Morris lead guitar, Reuben Drake on bass guitar, and Mark Prater on drums. It was produced by John Schaefer, co-produced and engineered and mixed by Jim Morris of Morris Sound Studios, and mastered by Zeus. Recorded at Morris Sound Studios and Independence Hall. Artwork by David Newman Stump and Roy Young. But yeah, it's just an overall killer package. And what I wanted to say basically was about this. The reason I'm doing this whole episode here is that if you love horror movies and you're a big horror movie fan like I used to be back in the day, and still am to a certain extent, but I love more of the classic movies, the classic horror movies back in the day, like some of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, some of the original, Friday the 13th, several different portrayals of Dracula. I like the Bela Lugosi version also. I like some of Bram Stoker's. I love Dracula Untold. Just different versions of Dracula. I don't think there's really been too many movies done about Jack the Ripper, but I will throw something out on this one here. There's a movie out called From Hell with Johnny Depp, and it's about Jack the Ripper, and I think that's a good adaptation of that movie of Jack the Ripper and what happened during that time. But if you could tell, so the album artwork is this right here. That's the cover of the album, and it's a haunted house with all the creatures on it. If I could bring it up, I wanted to show you. Okay. Okay. Bear with me just for a second. I wanted to show you the album artwork from the album Horror Show. And this is it. This is the artwork from Horror Show from Meister. And it has some of the same songs. Well, Dracula is one of the songs. And there's a song on there called Jack. It's about Jack the Ripper. But none of those songs that are on here are the same songs that are on the Purgatory EP. Those songs were more based on like just kind of like their takes of it, but these were actually based more upon kind of like the movies and everything. Like I heard an interview saying that those songs were written for them to like act out on stage and everything, but they're still influenced by the actual albums or the actual movies. I'm sorry. So yeah, but all in all, if you get a chance to pick this album up, I recommend you picking it up. And also, I would say now this album is available on vinyl and CD. You can get them both at Amazon.com. But if you're a big fan of horror movies and you're a big fan of like Dracula and Friday the 13th and Jason and Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that, then I would pick this up and give it a whirl. I'm pretty sure you can find it on the streaming sites and everything like that. So yeah, you just got to pick it up and check it out. And like I said, it's just so great. So yeah, if you get a chance to pick this up, definitely do it. Add it to your collection. You won't be sorry. And so that's pretty much it. So this is Wild Bill signing out of Wild Bill's Meeting the Arts podcast. You have a good day and a blessed day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.